Good afternoon, one and all present here. A warm welcome to session 3 of second day. Along with participants, I welcome our speaker, Dr. Sujata Madam. I am happy to introduce Dr. Sujata has completed her UG and PG degrees in Tyagaraja College of Engineering in the year 1996 and 1998, respectively. She received her PhD degree from Anna University, Chennai in the year 2012. She is currently working as professor in Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. She is having the total teaching experience of 25 years. She has published 23 papers in referred journals like IEEE and IET. She has successfully completed one research project under TechUpFund. She acted as a resource person in many workshops and FDPs. She has organized FDPs on various titles related to power systems. She has produced one PhD scholar and she is currently guiding 7 research scholars towards PhD. She has received a Senior Educator and Scholar Award, which is powered by National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, Coimbatore District, Tamil Nadu, in the year 2017. With these few words, I welcome Dr. Sujata to deliver the lecture on application of EI to power systems.
Thank you,
Please,
Jnanambal
ma'am.
Madam. Thank you, Jnanambal Madam, for wonderful introduction. I welcome and a very good afternoon to all for connect in this virtual platform. And I thank the coordinator, Dr. Jnanambal Madam, for giving me this chance to deliver a lecture on e-applications to power system. And my presentation mainly focus on what's the need for optimization, what are the shortcomings in conventional techniques, why we need a soft computing techniques, and there are so many soft computing techniques available. And in today's class we are going to discuss in detail 2 techniques. One is a differential evolution and next one Gray Wolf optimization algorithm, and what are the basis of these 2 algorithms and how to apply this to a simple problem and some applications. Is my slide visible?
Yes, madam. Please proceed.
In the last classes, we have discussed so many things about optimization. So all the real world problems, it's very difficult to model the real world problems, and we have to optimize something in order to achieve the our goal. So this optimization play a very vital role in decision making. So here we are going to maximize something or minimize something. If we consider the economic dispatch problem in power system, where the objective is we have to meet the demand and we have to optimally allocate the generation among the existing generators in order to meet the demand, where the objective is to minimize the operating cost. So where our objective is to minimization. Similarly, if you consider traveling salesman problem, where we have to minimize or we have to identify the shortest route. Again, here we have optimization. We need optimization to achieve something. Similarly, if we consider a loss minimization problem, if we consider distribution side where we have to optimally place some DGs in suitable locations in order to minimize the transmission loss, where the objective is to minimization. So all the including objectives, we have to maximize something or minimize something. So automatically we need optimization techniques. There are so many conventional techniques available. So this is one of the problem where we have to optimize. That is a economic dispatch problem in power systems, where the objective is to minimize the cost. Suppose we have three number of generators. For example, we have three number of generators, and assume that the generating station is very close to load center. So we can neglect the transmission loss. Now the objective is we have to find the optimal allocation among the three generators in order to meet the demand. At the same time, if the plant it is a thermal plant, we consider thermal plant. So where the 70% of the major cost is due to fuel cost. So we have to minimize the fuel cost. So for any optimization problem, first you have to identify our objectives, and then we have to formulate the objective with the help of the control variables. Here the objective is minimization, where FT is a total cost. We are going to minimize the total cost. Suppose we have here NG represents number of generators. Suppose we have three number of generators. Then the objective function will be minimization of total cost, which is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3, where F1 is a fuel cost of unit 1, which is a function of this decision variables P, where P refers, it is a real power generation of a generator. So this function of this fuel cost is a quadratic equation. So the objective function is a non-linear one, and we have to set the constraints. As far as the economic dispatch problem is concerned, here the constraints is sum of generation, real power generation is equal to demand plus loss. It's a general equation, real power balance equation. If the plant is located very close to load center, we can neglect the transmission loss. Otherwise, we have to include the transmission loss. So here the problem is we have to identify the optimal generation among the existing generators in such a way that we have to meet the loss plus demand. So this is a equality constraint. And in practical power system, there are practical problems. There are several non-linear constraints also. So we have to impose certain minimum limit and maximum limit. If we consider the thermal plant, here the real power generation, there is a limitation. Usually the lower limit is given to thermal plant. We should not operate it is not advisable to operate the plant below certain limit, because the plant is considered as a thermal plant. Due to thermal instability of a boiler, we have to give some minimum limit. Similarly, the turbine, generally they do not have overloading capability, so maximum limit is imposed. So within this given constraints, we have to find the optimal value of generation among the n number of generators in such a way that it satisfies the equality constraint of sum of generation equal to demand plus loss. At the same time, minimize the total fuel cost. So this is one optimization problem. It is a non-linear optimization problem subjected to an equality constraint and inequality constraint. So if we consider the problem as such, so we can solve this problem using conventional techniques. So these are some of the conventional techniques available. The main drawback of conventional technique is we need a well-defined optimization objective function constraints. So if everything is well-defined and the function should be continuous, we can able to take a derivative, then all the conventional techniques, it gives solution. Whereas most of the real world problems, it is very difficult to formulate the objective function by means of mathematical equations. So in such a case, if you apply the conventional techniques, it is very difficult to find the solutions. So these are the drawback of conventional techniques. So here we can consider one conventional technique to solve the equation. Here we have a set of equations, simultaneous equation, linear equations. And here the unknown variables are x, y, z. So to find the solution for this, first you have to need some initial guess. Here we can assume all the values of solution as 0 initially, and then we can substitute these values and find another new set of solutions and then check whether it satisfy the constraints. If not, we can repeat the procedure. We can repeat the iterative procedure till the solution converge. So here, this is a characteristic one of a model shown. So such type of problem is called as a convex problem, where there is only one optimal solution, that is called as global solution. So whenever our problem is a convex type, then all conventional techniques can able to identify the solution. Whereas most of the real world problems is highly non-linear and multimodal. Multimodal means there are so many. Suppose the problem is a minimization problem. In case of multimodal means there are several minimum values. So there is only one global and the remaining optimal solutions, they are called as a local. So whenever the problem is highly non-linear, the objective function may be non-linear or the constraints itself are non-linear. And whenever the problem has multimodal, more than one optimal point, and the complex constraints, in such a case, this conventional techniques, it fails to identify the global solution. Then we need some heuristic technique to find the solutions. So these are the possible shortcomings of traditional methods. We trace a well-defined objective function and constraints. It is a mathematical representation of the objective in terms of the decision variables. Another one, all the conventional techniques, they need information about the derivatives. That means the function should be continuous one. So the derivative should be exist. This information is essential to find the solution by conventional techniques. And whenever the solution surface is not smooth, having more than one optimal point, that is called as multimodal function. In such a case, the conventional techniques, it finds difficult to locate the optimal point. And also it fails to explain. Suppose if the optimal point occurs, it is if a minimum point, if minimum is our objective, if the minimum occurs at a point where the derivative does not exist, in such a case, the traditional method, it fails to give solution. So in most of the case, and also the conventional techniques, it fails to handle mixed variables. So suppose if the problem is a optimal location of fax device in the power system, where we have to identify the optimal location, which is an integer variable, and also we have to find the sizing of the device. Suppose the device is a TCSC, we have to find the optimal setting of the TCSC in capacitive mode. So in such a case, here the variables both, it involves both integer variable as well as real variables. So in such a case, the traditional methods, it fails to handle those problems, and most of the time it will give solution that is not a global one, it is a local one. It is called as whenever it locates, it trap to local solution, then it is called as premature convergence. So these are the shortcomings or disadvantages of traditional methods. So this is an example for multimodal function. Here you can consider two-dimensional problem. The variables are x1 and x2 and f is a function value. So here the surface is not smooth. Here there are so many peak points and so many valley points. So this is one maximum point, this is one peak, this is another peak. So among them, this is a true peak value, that is called as global maximum, and all other remaining solutions, they are considered as a local. Similarly, the surface has so many valleys. Here it is one valley point, that is minimum. Here there is one minimum, but here the true minimum is here. So actually it is a global one. So whenever our problem search space is like this, if you apply conventional techniques, so the conventional techniques, it depends, the accuracy of the conventional techniques, it depends upon the initial guess. Suppose if the initial guess values of x1 and x2, if it is closer to this global minimum point, then the algorithm, it tries to locate the global minimum. Suppose if the initial guess point is somewhere here, then it never identifies this solution. So this is a drawback with conventional techniques. Whereas if you apply a soft computing techniques, that is a heuristic techniques, then there is a more chance for getting global solution or near global solution, which is an acceptable one. So whenever we have more than one optimal point, that is called as multimodal or non-convex. And this is another one standard function, 2D sphere function. Here the objective function equal to, this is a function where here there are two decision variables. One is x1 and x2. It is a highly non-linear one. And here this is a constraints given for x1. x1 is between minus 2 to plus 2 and x2 between minus 2 2. So we have to find, so for different values of x1 and x2, this is our functional value. There are so many peak points and valley points. Suppose if our objective is maximization, then we have to find the suitable values of x1 and x2 in such a way that the function will be maximum. We have to find the peak value. It is a global value. If the objective is maximization, we have to identify the true peak value. If our objective is minimization, then we have to find the optimal value of x1 and x2 in such a way that our function will be minimum. We have to find the true global minimum point. So this problem is a highly non-linear one. It's a multimodal problem. If you use any conventional techniques to find the solution for this problem, it always stuck with local optimal. It never finds the global optimal point. So for this case, we need a heuristic techniques. So necessity of heuristic optimization. Since the real world problem is highly complex one, involving multimodal values, more than one optimal point, and the nature of the optimization problem, the solution space may not be continuous. It's a discrete one, a non-smooth surface. In such a case, we need heuristic techniques. And if sometimes it is very difficult to represent the function objective in terms of mathematical model. In such, we have suppose only the set of data points relating input and output. We have only the data points without having any mathematical relation between the input and output sets. In such a case also, we can apply this heuristic techniques, soft computing techniques or intelligence techniques to find the solution. So it is a mathematical model-free optimization. So this meta-heuristic techniques, it locate global optimal point or near global point very quickly. It's suitable for multi-objective optimization. Again, if we consider a thermal plant, and we can consider the economic dispatch problem where the objective is to minimize the fuel cost, and we have to find the optimal value of generation among the generators satisfying the demand. That is economic dispatch problem. Then consider another problem, that is a emission dispatch problem, where the objective is we have to minimize the total pollutants, that is emission from the thermal plant. When thermal plant is in operation, it will emit oxides of nitrogen, sulfur, carbon dioxide, so which has a severe impact on environment. So here the objective is we have to find the optimal generation among the generators in such a way that the sum of the generation is equal to the demand plus loss. At the same time, we have to minimize the amount of pollutants released from the thermal plant. That problem is called as emission dispatch. So in both economic dispatch problem and emission dispatch problem, the control variable is the generation of the generators. But in one case, the objective is minimization of fuel cost. In another one, where the objective is minimization of the pollutants, product of pollutants. So both objective functions, they are conflicting. Suppose if we focusing on minimization of cost, then the resultant generation will lead to high emission rate. So whenever the objective is, we have to satisfy both objectives simultaneously. Then that is called as multi-objective problem. In such a case, the meta-heuristic optimization, it gives a best acceptable solution. And in all conventional techniques, it starts with a single solution and it tries to find a new better solution. So that is in conventional technique. Whereas in meta-heuristic one, at a time we can start with a group of solutions. It is called as parallel search techniques. So there is more chance for getting global optimal point. Even though the surface is not smooth, having multiple optimal points. And so these are some of the advantages of meta-heuristic techniques. So these techniques are very popular nowadays to find the solution for many complex problems. One is the simplicity and flexibility. Flexibility in the sense, even though it is very difficult to model the mathematical model available, we can apply this artificial intelligence techniques to find the solution. So it is a derivation free. Even though the derivative does not exist also, we can apply this technique. So there is more chance for getting global optimal point. That is, we can avoid the premature convergence. And concept wise also, it is very simple. These algorithms have been developed based on evolution concept or the social behavior of birds and animals. So these are the classification of meta-heuristic optimization techniques. So the optimization methods, one is a classical conventional one or meta-heuristic. Under meta-heuristic, again there is a population-based algorithm or a trajectory-based, and it is further classified into evolutionary algorithms, swarm intelligence, and these are the several. There are so many evolutionary algorithm techniques available, as well as swarm intelligence. So some of the techniques are listed here. The very first one is a genetic algorithm. It is proposed by Goldberg based on Charles Darwin principle of natural evolution and survival of fittest in the year 1975. And other evolutionary algorithms includes evolutionary programming developed by Forge in the year 1994 and evolutionary strategies proposed by Bakita in the year 1991 and several other algorithms, immune algorithm, clonal selection, harmony search algorithm, and differential evolution is one of a powerful technique for solving the optimization problem proposed by Stone and Price in the year 1996. And there are so many swarm intelligence techniques. Here the researchers or the authors, they inspired by the social behavior of birds and animals, how they identify their prey and how they escape from the enemies. So inspired by those, there are several techniques available and few are listed here. Ant colony optimization, artificial bee colony algorithm, particle swarm optimization, bacterial foraging, grey wolf optimization algorithm, firefly algorithm, and there are so many other techniques, shuffled frog leaping algorithm. So each technique has their own advantages. And cuckoo search algorithm is proposed in the year 2009 by Young and Deb, where the authors inspired by the cuckoo's parasitic reproduction mechanism and Levy flight searching strategies. So there are so many techniques available. In today's presentation, we are going to discuss in detail about differential evolution proposed by Stone and Price in the year 1996. And another one, Grey Wolf optimization algorithm proposed by Mirjalili et al. In the year 2014. So the evolutionary algorithms. So according to Charles Darwin, so he defined evolution as descent with modification. It is the idea that species change over time. It gives rise to new species and share a common ancestor. So based on Charles Darwin theory of natural evolution, this evolutionary algorithm proposed. So here the terminology is used. This one is a parent. Here all the terms parent, offspring, child, everything refers the solution of the optimization problem. So these are the major steps involved. First, you have to initialize the parent. That means you have to randomly generate solutions of a problem, not a single solution. We have to randomly generate a group of solutions. That is called as population. And then we have to each individual or each solution set, that is called as the term individual. So after generating this parent, then we have to find the fitness value. The fitness value is nothing but the objective function. We have to substitute the solutions in the fitness function, so that will decide the fittest of the solution. So next one, we have to generate another new set of solution where we go for reproduction process, that is a crossover. So it gives another group of solutions. Suppose if we initially consider 20 parents, then after reproduction we get another 20 sets of solution, that is called as name it as a child. And then we have to go for competition. That means whether the parent seems to be fittest or the offspring, the child seems to be fittest. The fittest one will consider as a parent for the next generation. The fittest one will survive. It is survival of fittest. This is a basis of all evolutionary algorithms. So the basic steps involved in any evolutionary algorithm is, first you have to randomly generate the solution sets, that is called as population, and then we have to evaluate the fitness value, that is objective function value, and then we have to go for reproduction process to get another new set of solutions. Once again we have to find the fittest value, and then we have to make some competition between the parent and offspring, and the fittest one will survive as parent for the next generation, and then we have to repeat this process. Here the term generation is equivalent to iteration in the optimization problem. We straight away go to the differential evolution. So this differential evolution, it is one of a meta-heuristic optimization problem. It is a population-based algorithm. So we can start with group of solutions, that is called as population. And this algorithm is developed by Stone and Price in the year 1996. It's a very powerful technique when compared with genetic algorithm. I have applied this algorithm in my research work, and when compared with other techniques available, this differential evolution, it always gives a consistent solution to the optimization problem concerned, that is a congestion management problem. So these are the major steps involved in differential evolution. First, you have to initialize the population. So the genetic algorithm is the very first algorithm developed based on Charles Darwin's natural evolution and survival of fittest principle. So in genetic algorithm, first you have to generate the population, then we can apply recombination, crossover operation, then we can apply the operator mutation, and then we can apply the competition, that is selection process. So in genetic algorithm, first we go with population, parent population, then recombination, next mutation, and then selection. Whereas in differential evolution, first we can initialize the parent population, then we go with mutation, next we go to crossover. This is a major difference between genetic algorithm and differential evolution. And then after selection, we can decide the parent for the next generation, and then we have to check whether we can terminate the process or we have to repeat the procedure. So the major steps involved in differential evolution is initialization of parent, then mutation operation, then recombination, then selection. So here the function f represents our objective function. So the function is a mathematical equation in terms of the parameters. D is a dimension of the real parameters, and then we have to specify the population size. Here n refers population size. Suppose our population size is 10, means we can randomly generate 10 set of solutions. Suppose our objective function is minimize a function, non-linear function, two-dimensional problem, x squared plus y squared. We are going to find the value of x and y in such a way that this function will be minimum. So here the decision variable is x and y. So x of I equal to one is x, another one is y. Then we have to specify the population size. If the population size is 10, we can randomly generate 10 sets of solutions. 10 sets of x and y. Each x and y, it is each solution set is called as individual in differential evolution algorithm. Suppose if n is 20 means we have to randomly generate 20 sets of solutions, that is x and y. Here it is an unconstrained problem. There is no limit, upper and lower limit for x and y. Then we can randomly generate the value of x and y between minus infinity to plus infinity. So the very first step is first you have to identify the decision variables. Then we have to initialize the population size, and then we have to randomly generate the solution vectors, that is called as population. So in genetic algorithm, the parent vectors is called as target. Suppose the problem is a constrained problem. Suppose the limit for x is given as -2 to +2, and the lower limit and the upper limit for the variable y is -4 to +4. Then we have to randomly generate the solution sets x and y between -2 to +2, and between, assume this is greater than equal to -4 and less than equal to 4 means we can randomly generate y between -4 to +4 for n number of population size. So after generating the random population of a parent, that is a target vector, next we are going to apply the mutation. So this mutation operator is a very important one, essential for introducing new characteristics into the population. So it helps to expand the search space. So for any optimization, any meta-heuristic optimization technique, there are two terms. One is exploration and exploitation. Initially, we have to explore the entire search space so that we can able to locate the global optimal. Once the solution progress, we can reduce our search space and we go for exploitation. So there should be a balance between the exploration and exploitation in order to avoid the premature convergence. So the second step is we have to apply the mutation. So here we can randomly choose 3 vectors from the initial population, that is a parent population. So R1, R2, R3 are the 3 vectors chosen. We have to select from the parent population and find the difference between 2 vectors. And then we have to, this is multiplied by one constant f, that is called as mutation constant. Now this vector is called as weighted vector, and add this weighted vector to the first vector, we get another solution, that is called as mutant vector or donor vector. So in differential evolution, to apply this mutation operation and to generate a mutant vector, we can randomly select 3 vectors, find the difference between the 2 vectors and take a weighted value, weighted of the difference of the 2 vectors, and add with the first vector so that we get a new vector. Since here we can find the difference between the 2 vectors, this algorithm is called as differential algorithm, evolution algorithm. Okay. So this vector difference will give the guidance how to change the position of the initial vectors in order to get in order to explore the new solution. And this value of mutation constant is between 0 to 2. So we can select some value and then we can take the weighted difference. So here it is a 2-dimensional one. We have 2 variables x1 and x2. x1 value is between -10 to +10, and the boundary for x2 is between -10 to +10. And we can randomly select 2 vectors. Here the vector x2 is here, and this is a vector x3, and another vector is xr1. So first you have to find the difference of these 2 vectors, then find the weighted difference by multiplying with f, and then we can add this with xr1, so we get a new vector. So we are going to change this vector from this position to this value. with the help of this mutation operation. Similarly, we can repeat this process up to population size. Suppose if the population size is 20 means we can repeat this process 20 times so that we get a new 20 sets of solutions. That is called as mutation vector or donor vector. And since we can find the difference between the two vectors, the algorithm is called as differential evolution algorithm. The third operation is a crossover, also called as a recombination. So this recombination operation, it helps to maintain diversity in the population, and it also, this operation helps to prevent the premature convergence. That is, it prevents to trap on the local optimal solution. So after applying crossover operators, we get another set of solutions, group of solutions, and that vector is called as either child or trial vectors. So initial parent, that is called as target. After applying mutation, we get a mutant vector or donor vector, and then we can apply the crossover operation and we get a trial vector. Next, you have to apply competition or selection process between this child, trial vector or parent vector, and the fittest one will survive as a parent for the next generation. So in crossover, there are two types. One is a binomial crossover and exponential crossover. Here this X refers the parent vector or target vector, and this V refers mutation vector or donor vector, and this U refers, it is a trial vector obtained after applying the crossover operation. So here the crossover operation operate like this. In binomial crossover, first you have to fix one crossover constant, its value is between 0 and 1, and then every time we can randomly generate one number, and if this random number is less than the crossover constant, then we have to select the vector from the mutation. We can select the mutant vector. Whenever the random number is greater than crossover constant, in such a case we can select the parent vector as a trial vector. So here we can apply one random number, we can apply randomness, and we can select either from the mutant vector or from the parent vector as a child vector or trial vector. This is called as binomial crossover. Suppose if the crossover constant is some 0.9, its value is between 0 and 1. If the value is taken as 0.9, here this random value you can use in MATLAB. This random value is between 0 and 1. So whenever this value is very high, we have more chance for selecting this mutant vector as a trial vector. Otherwise, we have more chance for getting the parent vector that will be selected as a trial vector. This is a binomial crossover. And another one is exponential crossover. So in exponential crossover, between 1 and D, here D refers a population size. Between the population size, we can randomly select one integer number, and then we can select another integer number between 1 and D minus A, and then we can apply the crossover operation. We are going to create a trial vector. That means, so from 1 to A minus 1, we can select all the all the mutant vector as a trial vector, and then from position of A to A plus B, we can select those vectors from the parent, and then from remaining case up to population size, we can select once again the mutant vector as a trial vector. So this technique is called as exponential crossover. So after applying the crossover operation, we have another group of solutions. Next, we have to apply the competition or selection. So initialization means parent, that is target. After applying mutation, we get a mutant vector or donor vector. Next, we can apply crossover operation. Then we get a solution that is called as a trial vector. Then we can apply a selection concept. So we can apply competition between this parent target vector and this trial vector, and then the fittest one will consider as a parent for the next generation. So after, then we have to find the fitness value. Here f of u represents the fitness of the trial vector, that is a child vector. F of x represents fitness of the parent vector. If our objective function is a minimization problem, then we can check which one is the fittest one. First consider the first solution. Suppose the fitness value of the child is less than the fitness of the parent, then we can select the child. Otherwise, we can select the parent. So this x refers the parent vector for the next generation, that is g plus 1. G refers generation. So the fittest one will survive according to Charles Darwin's principle. So we can make a competition between the parent and the offspring, that is a child target vector and trial vector, and the fittest one will be selected as a parent for the next generation. So for any algorithms, we need one stopping criteria. So generally, for all these algorithms of computing techniques, we can specify some iterations. The iteration may be 200 or 300. Once the number of iterations reached, we can terminate the process. Otherwise, we can repeat this iterative techniques. Finally, all the solutions, they finally achieve the true global optimal point. Now we will see in detail how to apply this differential evolution to one simple optimization problem. Here you can consider one two-dimensional problem. It is a non-linear problem. Here the objective function is minimization of x1 minus 5 whole square plus x2 minus 2 whole square. Here there are two variables involved. One is x1 and x2. We are going to find the optimal value of x1 and x2 such a way that the function will be minimum. Here there is initially we can consider no boundaries for x1 and x2. So both x1 and x2 can take any values in this solution space. So the very first step is an initialization, that is a generation of parent vector. So here we can identify the variables. The decision variables are x1 and x2. Next, you have to specify the population size. Here the population size is taken as 12. So we can randomly generate x1 and x2, 12 sets of solutions. So each solution set, this 6.1686 and 4.41, this is one of the solution set, is called as individual. So we can randomly generate x1 and x2 up to population size. If your population size is 20 means we have to randomly generate 20 sets of individuals. This is a very first step in differential evolution, and this parent vector is called as target vector. So once we generate the vector, next you have to immediately find the fitness value. That means we have to substitute these solutions in our objective function and find the objective function value. That is called as fitness. So substitute this 6.1686 here for x1 and substitute this 4.41 in the place of x2. Find the functional value. That is called as fitness function. So this is a fitness function or the objective function value. Here our population size is 12. So we have 12 sets of solutions and we have 12 fitness value. Next, you have to apply the mutation operation. There are so many strategies in mutation. This is one of a strategy. That is a grand one bin strategy. That is to find this, to apply this mutation operation, we can randomly generate 3 vectors and we are going to find the weighted difference between 2 vectors and we have to add that weighted difference to the first vector. So for that, here you can randomly generate a number, 3 number between 1 to 12. So here the numbers are 1, 2, 3 and another set of vectors, a non-repeated number 4, 5, 6. And the third case, the randomly generated 3 numbers, vectors are position 7, 8 and 9. So we have randomly generate vectors, 3 vectors up to your population size. So you can randomly generate vectors. Then first consider the first one. You can consider the vector 1, vector 2 and vector 3. Take these two, vector 2 and vector 3. Find the difference between these two vectors. So vector 2 is this one, second one, 6.2104 and 4.0935. And third vector is 7.4231 and 8.388. Find the difference between these two. Here we can get minus 1.2127. That is the difference of the second vector and third vector. Now we get value of x1 and x2. So this is a weighted difference. And then we have to multiply this weighted difference by 1f. That is a mutation constant. And then we have to add this resultant weighted difference vector to the first vector. The first vector is 6.1686 and 4.41. That is a mutation operation. So we can randomly select 3 non-repeated vectors, find the weighted difference between 2 vectors and add the resultant one with the first vector. Then we get a new solution that is called as donor or mutant vector. So here we can randomly select the numbers and find the vector difference. We simply find the vector difference between vector 2 and 3. Next we have to find the weighted difference and then we have to add with the first vector. So this is a weighted difference vector. First you have to initialize one constant, mutation constant, and then we have to multiply this vector difference x1 x2 with this mutation constant. Now we get this is called as weighted difference vectors. Then we have to add each vector with the first randomly selected vectors. The third vector already we have selected is, for the first individual it is 1, for the second one it is 4, for the third one it is 7. 1, 4, 7. So the weighted difference vector is added with first vector, then we get a new solution. Similarly, for the second individual, this is a difference in vector. If you multiply this with f, we get a weighted difference. Add this weighted difference vector with the fourth vector. This is a fourth vector, 2.895 and 0.8703. Then we get a new mutation vector, that is a second individual. For third new individual, we have to find the difference between the vector of 8 and 9. Then we have to find the weighted vector difference by multiplying with f and then add with seventh vector. The seventh vector is this one, 7.569 and 6.1457. After applying this mutation, this is a resultant table. So after applying this mutation, we get again 20 sets of individuals, 12 sets of individuals, because our population size is 12. So at the end of mutation, we have another new 12 sets of solution vectors, that is individuals. So after adding with third vector, now this is a new solutions. The first individual is 5.19844 and this one is 0.9744. This is one new solution set. So we have 12 sets of new solution vectors, that is called as mutant vector or donor vector. Next one, we have to apply the crossover operation. There are two types of crossover. One is a binomial crossover and next one exponential crossover. So in binomial crossover, we have to initialize one crossover constant between 0 and 1. Here we can take a crossover constant as 0.8. Our population size is 12. So randomly generate number between 0 and 1 using random function. So we get 12 random numbers. This is for variable x1. Our condition, according to binomial crossover, we are going to compare this random value with the crossover constant. Whenever the random number is greater than crossover constant, then we can select the mutant vector. And whenever the random value is less than crossover constant, then we can select the parent vector. Here, here for the first case, for the first individual, the random number is 0.01, which is less than the crossover constant of 0.8. So we can select this value from the mutant vector. So we can select x1 from the mutant. The 5.1984 is a mutant vector. You can select this. Similarly, for x1, the second random number is 0.05, which is also less than our crossover constant. So again, we can select the mutant vector. In the third case is 0.78, which is also less than the crossover constant of 0.8. So we can select x1 from the mutant vector. For the seventh one, the random number is 0.95, which is greater than the crossover constant of 0.8. So we can select the seventh x1 from the parent. The 7.569, it corresponds to parent vector. 7.569 is taken from the parent. Similarly, this eighth one also 0.8 is greater than 0.8, so we can select x1 from the parent. So for all the rest of the case, as per this problem, this example, we can select from the parent. Similarly, we can repeat the procedure for x2. First, randomly generate a number between 0 and 1 up to the population size, and then we can check whether it is greater than crossover constant or less than crossover constant. If it is less than crossover constant, we can select the individual from the mutant vector, or we can select from the parent. So after applying this binomial crossover, we have 12 sets of new solutions. So this is one individual. This 5.19844 and 4.41. The second case 2.70332 and 4.0935. So this is our new trial vector. After getting this trial vector, once again we can substitute in the function value and find the fitness function. So this is a fitness value for the trial vector. So the fourth operation is we can apply the selection process. We are going to compare the fitness value of the parent and fitness value of this trial vector, and then if the objective function is minimization, we can select the individual either from parent or crossover, which will give the minimum, which have the minimum fitness value. Just we are going to compare the fitness value of parent and crossover. This is a fitness function of the parent, and this is a fitness function of the after applying the crossover operation, that is trial. We are going to compare these two. So for the first individual, the fitness value given by the child is less than the fitness value of the parent. So we can select this x1 and x2 from the child. That is a trial vector. We can select this 5.19844 and 4.41. The second case, for the second individual, the fitness of the parent is less than the fitness of the trial vector. That is, the parent seems to be the fittest one. So we can copy the individual from the parent. So we can directly apply competition between the parent and the child. This is another difference between differential evolution and crossover and genetic algorithm. Here you can make a competition between the parent and child. If the parent seems to be fittest, we can copy the individual from the parent. If the trial vector, that is a solution obtained after performing crossover, if the fitness of the crossover vector seems to be fittest, we can copy the individual from the crossover. So at the end of the selection, we have new 12 sets of solutions. So this is called as one generation. Now this set of x1 and x2 is considered as a parent for the next generation. Then we can repeat the same process once again. For this, but now this solution vector is considered as a parent. Once again, find the fitness value and then apply mutation operation, crossover operation, and then give a competition, and once again find the selection. So you can repeat this process up to maximum generation. Suppose the maximum generation is 200, we can repeat this process up to 200. At the end of 200th iteration, the minimum fitness value corresponding solution vector, corresponding individual is considered as a solution for the problem. So there is only simple techniques available in differential evolution. This is the second operation, crossover operation, that is exponential type. Here the methodology is, here our population size is 12. So between 1 and 12, select one integer using random function between 1 and 12 and name it as A. Suppose we can get A as 5. Between 1 and 12, we can pick one number and that is A, 5. And B is another number taken from 1 comma D minus A. So 1 comma D is 12, 12 minus 5, 7. So between 1 and 7, randomly select one number. Suppose the number is 4. So according to exponential crossover, so we can from 1 to A minus 1. A minus 1 is 4. So from 1 to 4, we can just copy the vectors from the, we can select from the mutant vector, and then from A plus 1 to this B, A, from A to A plus B, from 5 to 5 plus B 9. So from 5 to 9, we can simply copy the vector from the parent, and for the remaining case, we can copy the vector from the mutation. So this operation is called as exponential type crossover. So in exponential type crossover, we can randomly select one number A between 1 comma population size, and we can select another number B randomly between 1 comma or population size minus A. Suppose A equal to 5 and B equal to 4. Then from 1 to A minus 1, it is 1 to 4. So first 4 vectors we can select from the mutant vector. And then from A to A plus B, that is 5 to 5 plus B 9. So from 5 to 9, we can copy all the vectors individuals from the parent. And then remaining, we can A plus B plus 1 to our population size, we can select all the mutation vector. Now this vectors x1, x2, this group of vectors is called as trial vector. After finding the trial vector, we can substitute in the each individual in our objective function and find the fitness value. Next, we can apply competition. It is a competition between the parent and this child based on the fitness value, and the fittest one will be selected as a parent for the next generation. So this is a parent, fitness of the parent and fitness of the child, that is crossover. Here the crossover is a exponential type crossover, and the fittest one will be surveyed as a parent. This is selection. In differential algorithm, there are so many strategies. This is one of a simple strategy. That is, we can randomly generate 3 vectors, find the weighted difference between 2 vectors, and add with the next vector, we get a new vector. And another strategy is DE best 1 comma beta. Here the beta refers type of crossover. It's a binomial crossover. There are 2 types of crossover, binomial and exponential. The second strategy, best 1 comma beta. In the 1 refers 1 vector difference, 1 weighted vector difference. It is added with, so one of a solution seems to be the best one. That is an individual which gives minimum fitness value. That is the best one. So add this vector difference to the best solution vector to get a mutant vector. And another strategy is rand 2 comma beta. Here 2 refers, we are going to find 2 vector difference. Here there are 2 vector difference, and find the weighted vector difference and add with another chosen vector, find a new vector. So these are some of the strategies you can apply to get better solutions. And so far we can see the example without any constraints. In practical case, at every iteration, the solution may lies within a constraint or it violates a constraint. Whenever the constraint is violated, there are so many mechanisms to handle the constraint. So one is a simple penalty method. So CV represents constraint violation. Suppose the solution X violates a certain minimum limit or maximum limit, find the amount of constraint violation, and that absolute value of constraint violation is multiplied by one penalty factor, one high value, and add this value to the corresponding fitness value. This is one of the way of handling the constraint. Okay, the proper selection of K, this will affect the solution accuracy. So this is a drawback of penalty method. And another constraint handling method proposed by Kalyanmai Deb in the year 2000. So whenever the solution lies within a limit, whenever variables lies within a limit, we can consider the function as it is. Otherwise, we can, whenever the constraint violated, we can add the amount of constraint violation to the maximum value of the fitness, and then we can consider that as an actual fitness. So in order to improve the accuracy of the solution. So this economic load dispatch problem, it is one of optimization problem, very common optimization problem in power system. Suppose here we consider 3 units. So the total, our objective function is minimization of total cost, which is sum of the PL cost. So this is a cost equation, which is a quadratic equation. It is a non-linear equation in terms of the decision variable. And each generation, the limit is imposed, certain minimum and maximum limit. So as far as unit 1 is concerned, the minimum limit is 200, maximum limit is 450. Similarly for unit 2 and 3, the demand is 975. So we can neglect the transmission loss. So our constraint is the real power balance equation is sum of real power generation equal to demand. So we have to find the optimal value of PG1, PG2 and PG3 in such a way that it satisfies this constraint. At the same time, it will minimize the fuel cost. If you apply differential evolution, the very first step is first you have to identify the number of decision variables. The variables are PG1, PG2 and PG3. Next you have to specify the population size. If the population size is 20 means you have to randomly generate these values between the given minimum and maximum limit. So this is called as a parent vector. After randomly initialize the parent, next you have to substitute this P1, P2, P3 in the objective function and find the functional value. That is called as fitness value. So this is the very first step in the differential evolution. Next you have to apply the mutation, and then we get a donor vector. Then apply crossover, either binomial crossover or exponential crossover to get a trial vector. Then we have to compare the fitness of the parent and the fitness of the child in order to select the parent for the next generation. Then we have to initialize the crossover constant between 0 and 1 and a mutation constant. And we have to initialize the generation, whether the number of generation, that is iteration is 150 or 200 or 300. And then we have to specify the strategy used, whether we are going to find the 1 vector difference or 2 vector difference, and the method of crossover, whether it is binomial or exponential. And this is the optimal solution obtained by writing the coding in MATLAB. This is PG1, PG2, PG3. If you add all the 3, then the total cost is, this is a minimum operating cost to satisfy this constraint. Suppose if the problem is the economic dispatch problem considering transmission loss, Now the objective function is minimization of total fuel cost, sum of individual cost of the units subjected to the constraints. Here the constraint is sum of all generation equal to loss plus demand. This expression gives the expression for the power loss, transmission loss in terms of loss coefficients. And during the course of iteration, if any one P1, P2, P3 violates the limit, then using constraint handling technique, we can change the fitness value accordingly and then we can repeat the process. So with loss case, this is optimal solution obtained by running the MATLAB coding. So P1 is 35 megawatt, P2 64 megawatt, and P3 is 52 megawatt. And the total transmission loss in terms of megawatt is 1.69, and the optimal fuel cost, operating cost is $1592 per hour. So the main advantage of differential evolution is the ability to adapt to non-linearities. You can able to find solution even though the search surface is discontinuities. Very simple technique, few operators only, suitable for finding the solution for combinatorial optimization problems. That is a location of facts device where you have to identify the suitable location. At the same time, you have to find the sizing of the device. So one of the variable is integer, another one is a real values. And it is also a population based algorithm and parallel search techniques. It starts with group of solutions. So there is more possibilities for locating the global solutions. So these are some of the advantages of differential evolution. So next one is a Gray-Wolf optimization technique. So it is also one of the swarm intelligence techniques. It is developed in the year 2014. And it is developed by this authors, Mirjalili, Syed Ali Mirjalili, and Mohammed Mirjalili and Andres Lewis. Here the basics of this Gray-Wolf optimization. The authors they inspired by the hunting behavior of the wolf. That is how it searches prey. That is called as group hunting, and this algorithm is well known based on its this gray wolf belongs to Canidae family. It is occupy a top position in the food chain. It is a carnivorous animal. This gray wolf is very popular for its hunting strategy. That is a group hunting, and the way it tracks the prey food source. And another one, it follows a strict leadership hierarchy. This is a motivation to develop an algorithm. So Gray-Wolf optimization, it simulates internal leadership hierarchy among the wolves. So when compared with other intelligence techniques, other nature-inspired algorithms, here the best solution is led only by one single solution. Whereas in Gray-Wolf optimization, the best solution is guided, the optimal solution is guided by three best solutions. So guide comprehensively decided by three best solutions. So the Gray-Wolf optimization, the main attraction of Gray-Wolf optimization is there is more chance for getting global solution. That is, it avoids a premature convergence. So one is this Gray-Wolf is very popular because of its group hunting strategy. Another one, it strictly follows the leadership qualities. It is usually live in every pack, small group of up to 7. So the leader one is designated as alpha wolf. This will take all the decision. Alpha wolf, it will lead other wolf towards the prey. And the next two levels of wolves, one is a beta and delta. Next in the hierarchy of the leader, it will support this alpha in taking decision. It will assist the alpha for taking decision. and the rest of the wolves in the group, they are called as a omega. So this is only for our understanding. So it strictly follows the leadership qualities. So the leading one is alpha. It is assessed by the next level of leader, that is beta, and name it as beta and delta, and the remaining wolves are called as omega. So one is a social hierarchy of wolves, another one is a group hunting. So in grey wolf optimization, these hunting techniques and the hierarchy followed by the wolves are mathematically modeled to arrive the global solution. Here the term solution, global solution, is equivalent to the prey, and the solution which has a best fitness, they are called as grey wolf, and it is alpha wolf, then beta and delta. So we're going to select 3 best fitness values, and they name it as a alpha, beta, gamma. And the remaining solution vectors, individuals, they are all called as a omega, and the prey is called as a global solution. So it has a leader to control over the entire period. These leaders, it will guide other wolves to approach the prey, and it follows so many strategies to approach the prey. So these authors, they developed this algorithm in the year 2014, and they applied this algorithm to the standard benchmark problems and found that it has a superior exploration and exploitation characteristics when compared with other swarm intelligence techniques. So the main drawback in any short intelligent techniques, each intelligent technique has so many advantages, and the main drawback is still there is a possibility of getting stuck into the local point. This is mainly due to improper balance between exploration and exploitation. So the key reason for the shortcoming is only due to improper balance between exploration and exploitation during the searching space. So the term exploration means it is the ability of the algorithm to search for a new space, whereas the exploitation, it helps to find the solution very near to the actual solutions. So there should be adequate balance. This will helps to improve the convergence characteristic as well as to prevent the solution to stuck into the local optimal point. And this GWOA, this grey wolf optimization, it has an excellent exploration and exploitation capabilities. We already discussed the grey wolf. It follows a strict hierarchy leadership, and the leader one is called as alpha, and the remaining next two level of leader, they are called as beta and delta. It will assist the alpha in taking decision, and the rest of the wolves, they are called as a omega. So these are the strategies involved hunting behavior of wolves. First, it will track the prey, and then it's chasing the prey. Once it approaches the prey, it will encircle and harass the prey, and finally it start attacking. So the main segment of the grey wolf optimization is encircling, hunting, and then attacking. Here the prey means global solution. Attacking the prey means approaching towards global solutions. And the alpha, beta, and delta, and omega, these terms are considered as the individual which has a best fitness. It is called as alpha. The next two best fitness individuals, they are called as beta and delta solutions. The remaining solution sets, they are all called as a omega. So this is a hunting behavior of grey wolves. This is a prey. These are all the wolves. The wolf which is very close to the prey, that is called as alpha. This will act as a leader. It will guide other wolves to approach the prey. So here the mechanism involved is it approach, track, harass, encircle. Initially, it will track and explore the entire search space. Once it approaches, initially it is explore, then it will exploit. It moves closer to the prey, and finally it will approach the prey. So based on these mechanisms, the Gray wolf optimization algorithm has been developed. The two main mechanisms, one is encircling, next one is hunting. So first you have to find the distance between the prey as well as the wolf, and accordingly they have to adjust his position. So here to find the distance, here XP represents the position of the prey and X represents the position of the wolf, and C is one vector, dynamically varying vector, which is governed by 2 into R1. It's a random number. So first you have to find the distance. Here XP represents the prey, X represents the solution vector of the wolf, T represents iteration, T is a distance between them, and C is a vector, randomly chosen vector, 2 into R1, where R1 is a random number between 0 and 1. So the encircling mechanism is mathematically modeled in Gray wolf optimization algorithm by means of this equation 1. Next one, hunting. The term hunting means moving closer towards prey from the information obtained in encircling. So after finding the distance, we can multiply this with one randomly generating vector, and then we can XP represents the prey vector, position of the prey, and this D is governed, is a distance is computed between the prey and the wolf, and finally this X is a position of the wolf. It adjusts its position so that it finally reaches the prey. And this only few variables are involved. One is A and C, and these are the randomly generated vectors. And this A is governed by 2A or 2 minus A, where A is a constant between 2 and 0, and R is another random number. So in order to maintain a balance between exploration and exploitation, initially value of A is between 2 and 0. Initially the value of A is high in order to explore the search space. After a few course of iteration, we can dynamically decreasing the value of A in order to exploit and approach the solution. So the two governing variables, one is A and C. By controlling the value of A and C, we can enhance the exploration and exploitation. Exploration helps to avoid the local optimal area. That is, it helps to enhance the convergence rate, and exploitation helps to locate or arrive the global solution. Here, assume that this is a prey, and assume the blue color which is very close to this prey, it is considered as a alpha wolf. So this one is next closer, it is considered as a beta, and this is next one, it is considered as a, it's not omega, it is a del. So this is a next one, wolf, that is called as omega wolf. Okay. So this omega wolf, it adjusts its position, it takes new position in order to arrive this prey based on the guidance given by the position occupied by the leaders alpha, beta, and delta. So in Gray wolf optimization algorithm, we can assume that the position occupied by this alpha wolf is blue color, and then beta and delta, they are all considered as a prey. So based on this, we are going to find the distance, and then we can give a amount of in what direction this omega wolf has to be moved so that it finally reaches the prey. So this is the equations. So in all other swarm intelligence techniques, The best solution is guided by one leader, whereas in Grey Wolf optimization, the three leaders will take a decision which will guide the remaining wolves to approach the prey. So we are going to find the distance between X alpha and X. X represents omega wolf, alpha represents alpha wolf, that is, it is very closer to prey. In GWOA algorithm, we can consider this is a position, the position occupied by alpha, beta, and del wolf is considered as a prey. So we are going to find the difference between this omega wolf and X alpha, X beta, and X delta, and then we can update the position of the omega wolf based on the comprehensive guidance given by this alpha, beta, and del. Finally, the position occupied by omega wolf, it updates its position by using this simple mechanism. So the center one is a prey. Each position shows the XY coordinate position of the omega wolf. Here only few positions have been given, but in practice, based on the value of A and C, the omega wolf, it occupies different position in the solution space. Finally, it will approach the prey. So once again, we can consider the same function we have considered for the differential evolution. That is a conv function. It is a two-dimensional one involving two variables x1 and x2. It's a non-linear one, x1 minus 5 whole squared plus x2 minus 2 whole squared. And the objective is we have to minimize the function. So in Grey Wolf optimization algorithm also, first you have to randomly generate the solution vectors. Here the population size is considered as a 12, so we can randomly select 12 vectors. Between, if limit is given for x1 and x2, we have to randomly generate the number between minimum limit and maximum limit. Here there is no limit constraint, no limit is considered, so we can randomly generate x1 and x2. After, so each one is called as individual. Each solution set is called as individual. Next, you have to substitute this x1, x2 in the function and find the functional value. That is called as fitness values. This is the very first step in the Grey Wolf optimization. So this step is same as that in differential evolution. So very first step is first you have to initialize the wolves. Here all the solution sets, they are called as wolf. Then if the function is minimum, so find the minimum fitness value. So among the 12, the 10th solution set will give a minimum fitness value. Then the corresponding vector x1, x2, it is considered as a alpha wolf. So the next best one is 11th individual. So this is considered as a beta wolf. In the third best fitness, among the 12 fitness value, the third best one is the 12th one. So this is considered as a delta. So the remaining solution vectors, they are all considered as a omega. Now each position of the omega has to be adjusted based on the guidance given by the leaders, that is alpha, beta, and delta. So from the fitness value, the 10th one is a minimum best fittest one. It is considered as alpha wolf. The corresponding solution vector is 4.7372 and 3.3048. The next minimum fitness is 11th one, so which is considered as beta, and the next one is delta. It is a 12th solution vector. The remaining vectors, they are all called as omega. So very first step, first you have to randomly select the solution sets, find the fitness value, and select the best 3 fitness values. Then you are going to find the distance between x alpha and x. So this is a formula 2 into random number, that is distance equal to C1 into x alpha minus x. So this is a x alpha vector, it is 4.7372 and 3.3048. So the remaining, they are called as omega. Take the first omega, we are going to update the position of this omega wolf. So C1 is nothing but 2 into random value. So it is a randomly generated vector. It's a random vector because you can use a random values function. This is x alpha minus take the first solution vector, that is called as x or omega wolf. Then we have to find, after finding distance, then find x1. x1 equal to, it is a new solution, new position for this x alpha. So which is nothing but x alpha minus a1 into this d alpha. So a1 equal to, the formula for a1 is, it is a randomly generated vector. It is 2a into one random number minus a. This is a. It's capital A vector. And this a is a linearly decreasing one. Initially it has its values between 2 and 0. It is linearly decreasing from 2 to 0. Initially its value is high in order to enhance the exploration, and linearly decreasing to minimum value in order to enhance the exploitation. So the new x1 equal to, this is x alpha. Just substitute this x alpha vector minus a1 into d alpha. a1 is nothing but 2a random number minus a. This is a1 multiply with d alpha. This d alpha is nothing but a distance. So find the value and substitute. Similarly, d beta, first you have to find d beta using the formula c1 into x beta minus x. So this is x beta minus x. And then calculate x2, where x2 equal to x beta minus a1 into d beta. We substitute in this formula, find x2. Similarly, find the distance between delta wolf and x, that is omega wolf, and calculate the position x3, and then find x1 plus x2 plus x, take the average value. Now this is a position to be occupied by the first omega wolf. Initially its value is 6.1686, 4.41. Now it is updated, change its position to 4.0487, 2.6051. In the solution space, it will move its position from this point to this one in xy plane. Similarly, we have to repeat this process for all the omega wolves. So at the end of the first iteration, we have a new set of solutions. 12, our population size is 12, so we have new 12 solution vectors. So once again, we have to find the fitness value. Fitness value is nothing but we can simply substitute the value of x1, x2 in the objective function. And once again, we have to select the alpha wolf, beta and delta based on the fitness value. Here, the seventh one, the fitness of the seventh one seems to be the lowest. So this solution vector, the seventh solution vector is considered as a alpha. So the next fitness one is 11th one. The 11th one gives the lowest fitness value. Then the corresponding solution vector 4.1136 and 2.538 is considered as a beta value. And the third best fitness, which is a 1.1495, that is 9th one, that is taken as a delta. Based on the position of this alpha, beta and delta, we are going to update the position of the remaining solution sets that are called as omega. So first you have to identify alpha, beta and delta based on the fitness value, best fitness value. Using the position of this alpha, beta and delta, we are going to change the position of the remaining individuals. Again, we have to use the same formula. We are going to find the distance and then we have to find the new solutions. We are going to find the distance using this expression and calculate x1, x2, x3, find the average so that we get a new position for the remaining wolves. So we can repeat this procedure up to maximum iteration. So then suppose the maximum iteration is 200. At the end of 200th iteration, we have one best fitness, that is alpha value, that is the solution considered as a global solution for the problem. So the advantage of Grey-Wolf optimization, simple to implement, fast convergence, only few decision variables and few parameters to be tuned, that is A and C, that is vectors, randomly chosen vectors. And by controlling the value of A and C, we can control the exploration and exploitation. Thereby, we can avoid the local convergence. And here, the position of the solution can be comprehensively assessed by 3 solutions. So, these are the power of the Gray-Wolf optimization algorithm. So, there are numerous applications. We can apply this intelligence techniques. So, one of application is placement of DG in power system, that is in radial distribution network. We're going to apply the optimal location for placing DG in the distribution network so that the cost will be minimum, or the objective function is we are going to minimize the loss. Then first you have to identify the objective function and then formulate the objective function, and then we have to set the constraints. Here the objective is considered as a loss minimization, and the constraint is, in general, the constraint is real power generation equal to demand plus loss. Suppose if we place some DG in some other location, now the total generation equal to actual generation plus this generation real power generation given by the DG equal to demand plus loss. Then we have to identify the constraints. So for security reason, for power system security, the voltage should be maintained within a narrow limit of 0.95 per unit to the lower limit is 0.95 per unit and upper limit is 1.05 per unit. It is the voltage at a bus is maintained within plus or minus 5%. So in terms of per unit, the lower limit is 0.95 and upper limit is 1.05. And we have to limit the current in that line should not exceed its thermal limit. So we have to impose the constraint for the current flowing in the transmission lines. So the current should not exceed the maximum allowable limit, and all the generators it has its own limit. So this is a problem, but the objective is we are going to minimize the loss by optimally placing the generate DGs and satisfying all the constraints. So this problem is a non-linear one. So automatically we need a evolution algorithm techniques to find the optimal solutions. So network taken. So we can place DG at any bus in the network in such a way that the overall loss will be minimum, satisfying all the constraints. In here, the problem is a combinatorial one. We have to fix the location, and at the same time, we have to identify the sizing of the generators. Suppose we have a chance to place two DGs in a system, then we have to identify two optimal locations as well as the corresponding sizing. So the number of variables is 4. First 2 corresponds to location, the next 2 corresponds to sizing of DGs in location 1 and location 2. So the location means the variables is an integer 1, and sizing it is a real values. So this is a way of generating the initial population. So the population size is 20 means we can randomly generate 20 sets of locations and sizing. Then if we are going to apply DE differential evolution, then the initial population is considered as a parent. Then we have to apply mutation, crossover operation, selection, and find the new solution sets. If you go for Gray-Wolf optimization, then after initialization, find the fitness value by substituting in the objective function, and then select the best 3 fitness alpha, beta, del, and update the position of the remaining individuals by computing the distance and the aggregate weight. So here every time we have to run the load flow in order to get the bus voltage and line flows. So if it is a distributed system, then there is a dedicated load flow techniques. One is a forward sweeping algorithm and backward sweep algorithm. Every time after selecting the individuals, As per this example, initially we are going to place two DGs at bus numbers 3 and 7 with the value of 120 megawatt and DG at 7 is 45 megawatt. Then we have to run the load flows, compute the bus voltages and the current flow in various lines. And then if any constraint seems to be violated, then we can use a suitable constraint handling mechanism and find the corresponding fitness values and then apply the other operations, mutation, crossover, etc. and repeat the process up to maximum iteration, and finally we get a solution. That solution is either global or near global, which is an acceptable one. With this, I'll stop my presentation. Have any queries? Will you please ask?
Participants, if you have any query, you may ask directly by using your mic, or you may type it in the chat box.
Okay, I send the PPT to coordinator madam. Madam will share the PPT. And if you have any doubt, I will give the contact number and mail ID to our coordinator madam. You can ask at any time.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. In spite of your busy schedule, you have spent a lot of time for us. And your elaborate session on differential evolution and Gray-Wolf optimization algorithm will definitely useful to the participants. On behalf of all the participants, I thank you once again. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam, once again for giving me a chance to share few things with your participants. Thank you.
I thank all the participants for your patient listening. We will meet tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you, participants. Kindly fill the Google form for getting attendance. So attendance is mandatory for getting the certificate. So we have to enter the attendance in the Atal portal. Daily I have to enter your attendance. So please stay connected in the meeting also. So meeting is recorded and recorded video will also be uploaded in Atal portal. So please stay connected in meeting as well as put the attendance in the Google form also. Thank you, participants. We will meet tomorrow.